They say you never really know someone until they try to destroy you. My name's Daniel Carter. I'm a high school teacher from Boulder, Colorado, and this is the story of how my wife tried to take everything from me. My home, my savings, my dignity, thinking I'd be too weak, too kind, too broke to fight back. What she didn't know was that help was coming from the one person I thought I'd lost forever. Linda and I, yeah, that was her name, had been married for 8 years. 8 long, complicated years. To the outside world, we looked perfect. Small house, 2 good jobs, nice photos on social media. But behind those smiles, things had been unraveling for a while. We stopped laughing at the same jokes. Stopped sitting down to dinner together. We started feeling like 2 strangers sharing the same roof. And then one morning, everything finally broke. It was a Tuesday. I remember because it was snowing outside, soft flakes against the window, and she was stirring her coffee like it had personally offended her. She looked up at me and said, "Dan, I think we both know this isn't working." I blinked, trying to play it calm. "You mean what?" She sighed. "I want a divorce." The word hung in the air like smoke. She said it so casually, like she was talking about returning something to a store. I asked, "Why now?" She didn't even hesitate. "Because I'm done pretending. I'm tired of living small. You're content being ordinary." That one stung. I'd never thought of myself as ordinary. I was a teacher, yeah, not rich, not flashy, but I worked hard, I cared about people, and I thought that meant something. Apparently not to her. A week later, a process server came to my classroom, right in front of my students, and handed me divorce papers. My hands shook as I read the first page. She wanted the house, my car, half my retirement, and monthly spousal support for maintaining her lifestyle. I remember laughing, not because it was funny, but because I didn't know what else to do. A fellow teacher, Mark, saw me sitting in the staff lounge with that envelope and said, "Man, you better lawyer up. She's going for the jugular." I told him I couldn't afford it. He just patted my shoulder and said, "Then you better find someone who can help." That night, I sat alone in the living room, staring at the walls I'd painted myself. Everything in that house felt like ours, but suddenly, it was all slipping away. Then I remembered someone who might be able to help me, though reaching out to him was the last thing I wanted to do. My older brother, Luke. Luke and I hadn't spoken in 6 years. After Mom passed, we got into a fight over her house. He wanted to sell it. I wanted to keep it. He accused me of being sentimental and irresponsible. I accused him of being cold and greedy. That argument tore our family apart. He moved to Denver, built a law firm, and became one of the toughest divorce attorneys in Colorado. And I stayed behind in Boulder, teaching history and pretending I didn't miss my brother. It took me 2 days to work up the courage to call him. When he answered, his voice was cautious. "Dan." "Yeah." "It's me." There was a pause. Then I said, "I need help." Another pause. Then, "Tell me everything." And I did. I told him about Linda, the papers, the demands, the humiliation. When I was done, there was silence on the line. Then Luke said, "She picked the wrong teacher to underestimate." 2 days later, Luke showed up at my house in a charcoal suit and a leather briefcase. He looked every bit the powerhouse attorney, confident, sharp, composed. He looked around the place and said, "So this is what she's trying to take." I nodded. He smirked. "Not on my watch." Then he rolled up his sleeves and started building a case. Luke brought in his forensic accountant, Carla James, who started digging into our finances. What she found made my stomach turn. Over the past year, Linda had drained nearly $40,000 from our joint savings, quietly transferring it into an account under her sister's name. She'd also used my credit card to pay for a business conference in Miami, which turned out to be a romantic getaway with a coworker named Derek. Luke handed me the receipts and said, "She's not divorcing you, Dan. She's robbing you." That's when something inside me shifted. I wasn't just the quiet teacher anymore. I was a man who was done being walked over. Linda walked into that courtroom like she was starring in a reality show. Hair perfect, new designer suit, her lawyer smirking beside her. Her side opened the case with a speech about how I'd emotionally neglected her and failed to provide stability. I just sat there, trying not to let anger take over. Then Luke stood up. "Your Honor," he began, "my client, Mr. Carter, is not the neglectful husband described in those papers. In fact, we have evidence that suggests Mrs. Carter was not only deceptive, but financially exploitative." The courtroom fell silent. He handed over a binder of statements, receipts, emails, and one particularly damning photo of Linda and Derek at a beachfront hotel, time-stamped during one of her supposed work retreats. Her attorney stammered something about privacy, but the judge waved him off. Linda's face went pale. Outside the courtroom, she caught up to me and hissed, "You think dragging my name through the mud will make you feel better?" I said, "No, but it'll make things fair." The next few months were brutal. Depositions, discovery, endless legal documents. Luke and his team worked tirelessly. Every lie Linda tried to spin unraveled. Every secret came out. The forensic audit revealed she'd forged my signature on a loan. Her consulting business was fake. And she'd even tried to manipulate her friend into backing a false story about me being abusive, which backfired when that friend turned over the text messages showing Linda planning it. When Luke presented those messages, he looked her lawyer dead in the eye and said, "If you don't want this to turn into a criminal case, I suggest you tell your client to stop lying." One night, after a long day in court, Luke and I sat outside on the porch. He cracked open 2 beers, handed me one, and said, "You know, you were always the better brother." I laughed. "You're the one saving my life here." He shook his head. "Nah, you built a life out of love. I built mine out of ambition. I just forgot which one mattered more." We sat there, silent, the way brothers do when words finally run out. That was the first time I realized, maybe this whole storm had a reason. Maybe it wasn't just about losing Linda. Maybe it was about finding Luke again. 6 months later, we walked into court for the final hearing. Linda looked different, tired, deflated. Her lawyer shuffled papers like a man who already knew he'd lost. The judge reviewed the evidence one last time. Then came the decision. Her request for spousal support, denied. Her claim to the house, denied. Her false statements, entered into record as perjury. And then, the line that sealed it all. The court finds in favor of the respondent, Mr. Daniel Carter. The petitioner's actions constituted willful deception. She will bear all legal costs. Luke leaned toward me and whispered, "Game over." After that, things unraveled fast for her. Her employer discovered she'd used company funds during her conferences. She was fired within a week. Rumors spread quickly in our small city. A few weeks later, I got a text from her. "I never thought you'd actually fight me." I stared at it for a while, then typed back, "You never really knew me." And I hit send. A few months after the case ended, Luke and I decided to restore Mom's old house, the same one we once fought over. We replaced the siding, fixed the roof, painted the porch. We didn't talk about the past much, but we didn't need to. We were brothers again. I asked him once why he'd really helped me. He said, "Because when someone tries to take everything from you, family is the one thing they can't touch, unless you let them." That stuck with me. Looking back now, I realize something I wish I'd known sooner. People will show you who they really are when power and money are on the line. Love doesn't disappear overnight. It erodes in small betrayals, in selfish choices, in quiet resentment. And sometimes, when it all crashes down, you find out who truly has your back. For me, it wasn't the woman I promised forever to. It was the brother I thought I'd lost for good. Now, on Sunday evenings, Luke drives down from Denver. We sit on that porch with a couple beers, watch the sunset hit the Rockies, and talk about everything except divorce. Cooper, my old golden retriever, curls up at our feet. The house feels alive again, like it finally belongs to the right people. Linda took her shot. She wanted to break me, humiliate me, take what I'd built. But instead, she gave me something she never expected: clarity, strength, and a second chance to fix what really mattered. So, if you're listening to this, and you've been blindsided by betrayal, don't waste your energy trying to destroy the person who hurt you. Build yourself back. Find your strength. Lean on the people who still believe in you. Because sometimes, losing everything isn't the end of your story. It's the start of the part where you finally become who you were meant to be.